So I will just open the space for you as a sharing, and we'll go through the exhibition, and the artists will talk about their work and what they did during the 6 weeks residency that they had with me. So let's go. So here is the space for the exhibition. So you're gonna have to be a bit like this because I'm using two computers, so everything is okay. So here you have the crucial text that should not open in my side, but open like this, and you can read the crucial text about what the artist did. It's a collective exhibition, as I was saying, from the artists that were on this residency. This is a name actually suggested by Isabella, which tells us about the profound connection that indigenous people have with the forest, and the artist focused on that connection with nature, the linear time, the mycelium networks, and they will talk a bit about that and present themselves when we reach their work. So should we start with Andjelik, as the work is right here, or someone wants to volunteer?
Sure, sure. Yes. Hi. All right. So, yes, you can walk around. Feel free. Okay. So, those are the photographs. There is a series of digital manipulated photographs and analog manipulated photographs. So, it's mostly about our relationship to nature. My project based on this art residency is exploring our interconnectedness with nature that is part of us, and us as humans sorry, being part of nature as well, to remind us how connected we are even though we don't realize, and to find a space to remind ourselves that it's very important for our well-being and our mental state of mind and our body to connect to this crucial part of ourselves. And this is the installation of, it looks so beautiful, of a film that I'm working on that's also a part of the same series, but the film is a bit more emotional. So there is the positive aspect of our connection to nature, and then there is a negative aspect of our connection to nature, which is mostly how we have been harming our environment and harming ourselves as well with it without realizing it over time. So this installation is part of an ongoing film that I'm working on, and the installation is sort of like a glimpse of what will be, and including the sound. I worked on the music and the sound and everything, so it's a soundscape and a very emotional piece that tries to connect you with the more important aspects of your own connection to nature. It just makes you question this. Feel free to click on the description of the project so that people can read the description. I can read it for them, and then you can click on the videos. So we have imagine our home, our planet, its nature, its creatures, our earth. Imagine the earth as a living entity. What would it say? Imagine its existence unfolding within a dimension beyond our conventional understanding, reaching out, trying to speak to us. Imagine we don't hear, we ignore, we harm, and we never stop. Imagine the reality. What will happen then? So this is something to think about, for the people to question themselves. And yes, you can continue to the video. You can click on the positive first because it's more deeply rooted to our feelings and emotions.
Well, I think was some lag. Maybe it was on my side only.
Yeah, it was a little stuck.
Sorry.
It got a little stuck.
Let me see if I can. This one works better. Let's go here. You want to talk a bit about this one?
Yeah, sure. I can speak a little bit about the process. First of all, the positive one was very beautiful to make. It's there's a whole aspect of the project that has a conversation and voices, but that will come forward. But yeah, just experimenting with the visuals and recording the narrative and everything was really beautiful and fun. It was an amazing adventure. But when it comes to the negative aspect of things, I even had to go to landfills and places with a lot of trash and involve myself in unhealthy situations where there was trash burning to be able to record this. And I got sick after. it was it was a little intense. While it's a very interesting approach because I was working on the project and on the negative aspect of the installation, and I wasn't feeling as overwhelmed working on it as when I finished the whole product and I watched it when it was finished, and I was um very anxious after watching it. So I guess it does has its purpose, but interestingly enough, I wasn't anxious while I was making it, but yes, when I watched it. So it does have its purpose. Yeah, you can click on it. Feel free. Hopefully, it doesn't
Lag too much.
stop at some point. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you get the idea.
Sorry, videos are very heavy, so normally.
They're very overwhelming.
And you can,
That is what we have done to our planet.
yeah, the way you did the negative side of it, it's very dramatic. It's very intense comparison with the positive side. I think you were able to create the two contrasts very well, and it's sickening in a way when you look at it, is because it seems that it's something from another dimension, but it's something that is true. It's happening. So can you tell us a bit also about the images, how they connect with the project? Sorry if I'm putting you on the spot, but and a bit
It's okay.
also about because I think it's very interesting the process that you did to create this project. So you ask people some questions, and you're gonna have the narrative side also of it.
Yes, but the narrative side is still an ongoing process. I'm still working on it. I even have people that are going to be fixing the voices and everything because the film, this is just an installation, and the film is going to be obviously longer, and all of those little tiny videos that you see in the negative side are actually going to be like a whole storyline within the film. The installation is a completely different way of showing the piece, and in a virtual space, obviously. So it will have more of a narrative that makes sense, let's say, because this is just a, let's say, audio visual sensorial experience for us to question our reality and how we relate to our environment. When it comes to the photographs that you see there, feel free to click on them so that people can see them a little bigger. And those were part of processes that, and at the same journey, while I was recording the film, I would take photographs during the journey
For some reason I can't
to
see.
that's good enough. Yeah, it's this one is analog, and mostly with both, experimenting with the digital and analog to capture different different feels. different colors and the way that they speak to you, and the effect of the photography is completely different when you use a digital manipulation and analog manipulation. So yeah, it's mostly throughout the same journey of exploration, watching, sorry, not watching, but recording the film and going from place to place. I would find little details that I want to photograph to kind of make it immortal as an experience, as our experience through nature. Maybe even relating your own explorations, you as a person walking around in nature, how do you feel? Is this how you feel? Maybe to be able to express those feelings, those relatable feelings that we all have when we are in nature. That's kind of the purpose of the photography. I hope it's enough of an explanation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Andjelik.
Thank you.
So, Denise or Isabella, who wants to go first? Denise? Okay.
Yeah, perfect. So it's just great to see all the work in this Innovate space. I've never had this experience. Thank you so much. I used the 6 weeks of residency to take a very fascinating topic, mushrooms, mycelium, growth, about my processes. I looked for photos. I worked on them. And on this basis, I realized several really large format paintings in ink, in colored ink, and also drawings with graphite on this topic. I was fascinated about the riches of the lines and structures. They speak of constant change and interaction between the elements of nature. And for me, each work is like a metaphor for the connections that exist in natural systems and the interlocking process that involve both growth and this. Overall, the series invites the viewer to reflect on the invisible connections and the seamless unfolding of life, showing the beauty and complexity of growth and how everything is interconnected. And that was my work, and the work is also inspired by a collaboration with a Swiss company that produce mycelium-based materials. For the moment, we are working on an exhibition on the topic with artworks and design products, but the work is still going on, and more hopefully soon.
Can you tell us a bit about the process, how you created these works that are here?
Yeah, as I said, I just collected a lot of pictures in the web, but also when I was walking through the forest, I collected a lot of pieces, and then I tried to make some abstraction. So it was not the idea to go as photorealistic work. And I discovered the Chinese ink, the colored Chinese ink, and I just tried to make nature-based drawings and paintings, but they also just stay for themselves. And I started with painting, and I was combining also with drawing, which was a great mix. So I had the two techniques, and it was really a lot of inspiration for me, but also a lot of work. There's a really big sizes for me, and it was really a hard work, even like an embodiment. And I liked it to have this process.
Okay, do you want to talk a bit more about your work or what you do as an artist?
I normally am working in painting, but also print graphic. I think this is a nice work a little bit between the two techniques. So I could imagine that I could go on the topics with printing. And normally I like to make small things, and this one is really my first series of big formats. And I hope we will have this connection, this collaboration with this Swiss company. But it's not so easy. It's my first experience to work on a big installation, and it means also a lot of work, a lot of paper, a lot of thinking. And I just say thank you to this great opportunity to work in this style, and I hope it will go on.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm sure everything going to be okay, and I'm excited to see how the project evolves with the mycelium. So keep me updated. Dodd, can we go to you?
Yeah.
Guys, this space, Dodd, is really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it has a whole vibe with your work. I love it.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. So I will go ahead and tell you a little bit more about what I do. I'm a contemporary visual artist. I work in multimedia, and it certainly was a pleasure to be involved in this residency, and was very inspired by everybody during the process, our discussions and topics that we shared. I chose to approach the residency with the bristlecone forest in mind. The bristlecone forest is here in California. It actually extends into several states, which I did not know. It extends into Nevada and Utah. The particular species of tree, but these trees are up to close to 5,000 years old. So I approached this topic from the point of a watcher or a sentinel, something that is watching time and watching all of us pass by. During our conversations, I suggested something. Can you imagine standing in one place for, let alone an hour, but thousands of years as these trees have stood and watched time pass by. I work in linear time, which is kind of the format of my style, which is pretty recognizable when you see my work. There's measured space, which is delineations of linear time and progress and days and moments and seconds and decades and lots of combination. These works for me were pretty fun because they're probably the busiest works that I've put together. About 40, 50 layers of media, all water based with paint additives and different things mixed in, but really, really tactile surfaces. When you see my work in person, it's very different than when you see it in a photograph because the surface is dimensional. For me, I wanted to project to people the sense of time for what this tree has witnessed. And I mentioned during the residency that it's not necessarily looking at the tree, but rather the tree looking out at us or looking at the environment and everything that it's witnessed and felt and dealt with, from temperature to time to light to effect and so many things that pass by through like an environmental foundation. The largest work in the series is Methuselah. That's the one to the right there. Pretty large artwork in inches, about 50 inches by 60 inches. Methuselah is one of the oldest trees in the
Can you share a bit about the conceptual and the technical aspect of doing this as much as you are comfortable with? More or less.
That's like an hour long conversation. Well, I chose the tree again because of it being a bristlecone and something that is this duration of time, which I think is very hard for us to understand. A tree that's been standing in one place for thousands of years. as opposed to, I think, something that's more digestible for us as we look at the environment is, 100 years, and if you can achieve that in your lifetime, which is pretty rare as well. But we look at the environment in very short term based on a tree that is standing in the same place or rooted in the same place for, for thousands of years and cannot get out of the way, cannot move away from environmental impact or deforestation or climate change, or it's frozen in one place. I think that's a pretty profound concept. Technically, my work is all layering. I visualize the work finished, and then I reverse back to, I guess for me, is zero, and then walk the painting forward again, kind of keeping control of the process to arrive at this endpoint. This particular style is my particular style that I've been working on for a few years now. A lot of masking and underpainting and exposure and some part of it that's out of control while it's in control, because I don't know how things are going to look once I reveal surfaces that were covered and covered over and masked. The additions at the end is something a little bit new for me, which is fun during this residency, is to always push yourself to reach outside of your comfort zone. And the additions are the green area, the blue area representing sky, the green area representing life or plants, and then a brownish or soil area representing grounding. So I did some explorative work and pushing the representations a little bit harder, heavier.
Okay, thank you, Dodd. You want to share anything else?
No, thank you.
So Antonia, let's maybe move to your side. I don't know what's happening on my side either, but see if you can in.
Hi, can you hear me, guys, now?
Yes, we can.
God. I just need to take a bit of breath because I got pretty nervous. I've been having
No worries.
difficulties the whole time. So yeah, okay. Hi. Okay. So during the residency, I developed my project exploring my feelings towards something that happened in my birthplace in Brazil, which was a climate change disaster. And I already was someone that cared a lot about nature, and in some ways, some very important ways, art was developing towards this analysis of one in relation to nature. And then this happened, the climate change disaster, which was actually floodings May last year. And I just really needed to explore this feeling of loss that I felt, the land and and where I grew up, how I was attached to these places and nature around it. So I did develop a project. I wrote about it, did a lot of research on it, and worked on installation that I hope to make it happen in person at some point. But part of the installation that I developed during the residency were these paintings, which the first two of them, which if you go to the red one, this one, it's called Chaos, and it is 120 by 90 centimeters. For me, it's quite big, although I did one already bigger than that, one painting bigger than that, but my studio is quite small, so that's like a big one. So it's called Chaos. When I was painting, things flew naturally to me. I wasn't organizing my thoughts the way I normally do. I kind of let things happen in the painting, would drag from my own experience, memories, and a bit of research during the residency with the lectures, but also my own research, imagery, and texts. So chaos, I came up with the name. I wanted to come up with the names at the end of the residency because for me it was a very emotional process to do all of this. I came up with these 3 paintings. This is chaos. It's from my memories of what I saw in the disaster, but also I didn't want to make it as sad because also there was lots of good things and positive things that came out of the disaster, which was people together in the same space, in the same land. One of the characteristics of my way of thinking when I'm painting is that I find symbols, natural symbols, that I attach to my memories in my childhood in Brazil. And you can see that lots of these paintings, they have a horse head or animals or something more magical and surreal. And I think that's a way of coping with reality. And I had to put it in my work because it's also a way that I use to cope with the reality of the disaster and what is happening in nature, disaster everywhere. So this call processing life with a ritual, it's more based on my research than anything. I did then research on rituals that other communities do, like dancing and clothes and makeup and usage of plants. And I came up with this composition to represent what ritual is for me. A ritual is for me a way of understanding what's happening around us and then also become a new version of yourself. Then this one is also 120 by 90 centimeters, by the way. And then the last one, which is called Death, I used a very strong painting that is from Kate Kolowitz as a reference. It's called Woman with Dead Child, and it's from 1903. And I use this as a reference, as a direct reference, because if you see the original painting, you can see how similar it is. But the only thing I really wanted to change was how the figures are related to the surroundings and how I end up with this whole project and this whole process of feelings that I had in my memories of everything that happened. Grounded myself, I understood way more that humans are connected to the landscape and the landscape is connected to us. And when we die, we just come back to the landscape. And I wanted to portray this as a beautiful moment. So that's why I painted, referring this painting by Kate Kolowitz, and changed the background to be connected to the figures in a more visceral way, which I think, encompasses the whole project, which is, that's.
Thank you, Isabella. Just for the live stream, at the end, you can ask questions about the works and we can go back to the works. It's just because these ways it flows a little better. So thank you, Isabella, for sharing about your work and your process. Do you want to share anything else about this work?
Only one last thing about this project that I wanted to share is that one element of my text that I wrote in the residency was a tent, and I couldn't do it, but I want to do it in person at some point, and is very related to childhood and memories, how I actually used my memories to paint the 3 paintings you saw there. But yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isabella.
Yes, hi. I'm Antonia, and I'm a textile designer and artist. And during the residency, I created 3 sculptures where plants are growing on textile. And to shape the sculptures, I used different materials that have different origins, or like the grade of how the material is derived from nature is different from each sculpture. And yes, I 3D scanned them, but we can also go inside. Yes, this one is the one that is like closest to nature. I collected branches from the forest and clay and natural wax, and then I used cotton thread, which is the most human processed material, to bind all the materials together, which is kind of reflecting for me that we as humans have to bind natural elements together to enable plants to grow and give like space back to nature. Yeah, you can see like the process. Like this is the filling material I used here with the seeds like starting to germinate on the textile, and how it started to grow, and how tiny and small the plants are. Yeah, this one was cool. Like I found a ladybug on the and like the shape is really simple, but it's shaped by the branches. So yeah, it's just pretty easy technique. Yeah, then maybe the second one could be the oil. And yeah, I can already start to talk about it. Like the Oya is an ancient vessel that's been used for thousands of years in different ancient cultures all over the globe, and it's used to store water, and through its like low fired clay, it like slowly releases water outside to water the plants slowly. So I wrapped around textile, so then the textile will absorb the water and transport it to the seeds. And I really liked the material, which is kind of influenced by humans, but not as much as the last one. Yeah, it's with the textile, it's a connection to a time where we were, as humans, living in harmony with nature and using the techniques. I used some more wild growing plants here, like pea and hairy vetch and nasturtium, and they kind of grow wild and go a bit crazy. And yes, the last one is the one I actually started with.
Continue, sorry.
Okay. And it's a 3D printed material, and by this I wanted to kind of find a bridge of how modern technology can work together with nature to enable plants and nature to thrive. I think you can skip like maybe the first photos. I wanted to find a shape that is really natural and organic looking, but then I have the contrast to the 3D print material, which is biodegradable, but still it's highly processed. So I wanted to make this combination, and then having the seeds growing on the sculpture to show that nature will overgrow what we do and what we build. Yeah, maybe you can also jump to like the green ones.
So
here
how long did it take you to do these pieces? For it to when you have the sculpture and then you add the material, so the plants, how long it took to become like this?
So this one is quite new. I think they are 1.5 to 2 weeks old. The other ones are 2 months old. Like this one I changed again. I wanted to have like a really densely growing pattern. But yeah, the other ones are older. and I can already see the textile material decaying, but the plants continue to grow, which is quite interesting as well.
Antonia, can I ask you, what are the plants that you planted in every one of the sculptures?
So the last one, the flower sculpture, that was red amaranth, linen, and psyllium seeds. And the first one was reddish linseed, psyllium as well, kind of a mixture of different seeds. And here on the other, I nasturtium pea, hairy vetch. These are the three that are growing more wild and like nurturing around. And then I added some linen and some wheatgrass as well. Just a bunch of seeds.
Can you tell us a bit about the 3D process?
Yes, that was a long process. It was kind of like I wanted to find an organic shape that looks really balanced and really natural, and yeah, found some inspiration in the shapes of flowers. But then I went to like have the 3D visualization. I went to collect clay and did some shaping with the clay, which inspired me in the first place to do the other two sculptures as well. But then I worked in Blender and yeah, just try to find a nice shape.
So I open now a bit the floor to the audience. If they want to ask any questions, can now with Antonia's work, and then if you have any other questions regarding all of the artist's works, please just write it in the chat and the artist will answer.
Denise, I have a question for you. How did you come up with like the names? Why is it M6, M5?
This was not really this mostly my own description. So M is here for mycelium, because I had a lot of documents, photo, texts, ideas, inputs. Yeah, it was not maybe the best idea for the exhibition, but it's just to remind the reminder for the mycelium. I will work on that.
But it's nice. It also shows the process and like all the experiments you did, which is nice.
Okay, thank you. It looks maybe like a mistake. Thanks.
Guys, you have anything that you want to ask each other? I don't think anyone is adding anything to the chat right now. Anything you want to explain?
It's just great to see the whole work. So the last calls, it's a long time ago, and especially for Andjelik, we only just saw some small fragments. And also with Antonia, we had a lot of chats and images by WhatsApp or other messengers. And just to see them now in the exhibition in these dimensions, I feel very happy. So it's a great experience.
Yeah, you guys all did great work. I'm so amazed by the results of all of your pieces. And Denise, your work is also very, it speaks to something that I haven't felt before, inside of me. And Dodd as well, fascinating. And looking at Isabella's results, those colors, Isabella, are just, I don't know how did you do? That's my question for Isabella. The colors that you used are so bright. How do you play around with colors? How do you know what colors to use in your work?
Can we go to my paintings again and I can my paintings again? Because I'm an artist, because I always forget who I am every day and I have to paint to remember my own existence. I'm very flattened that you liked it, very happy. And I think the red, I think all of your works, they are of reference to me, to my paintings too. Like what Dodd was doing influenced me a lot. Antonia, how like the natural shapes and wavy shapes that you did. Also, I kept thinking about it, and how you all felt throughout the whole residency, and every time we got together to talk about what you were doing, I don't know why, but the warmer colors and contrasts, like just came naturally to me when I was painting. And the most difficult one to do, which is the one that take most time, was the middle one, which is about the rituals. And it was so difficult to understand my own, like, sorry, the cat feeder. No. So it's so difficult to understand my own type of rituals. Like when I got into the studio, I had to feel that I needed to paint, and I had to organize my stuff and like think about my past and what I'm doing now. And it was almost like a therapy with myself. Like I was my own therapist, and the paints were like to the therapist. So this was hard because I also like put a lot of I was imagining other worlds and other narratives where I would be in and other people would be in. And I was kind of like daydreaming doing this one. So it's very, like, I don't need to take acid, you know? So I don't know, maybe I answer your question.
It's funny because it kind of connects to my work a little bit, because it does have that daydreamy feel, and I totally resonate with what you just said. I can connect to that same process.
So I really want to see your work
yeah.
because I had technical difficulties when you were speaking.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my work has technical difficulties. I would recommend you to look at it on your computer with your headphones and everything, because it's a whole experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And it took me a while to get to the solution of the installation, because I didn't have the conversation yet. I didn't know how to connect it to the whole. So I just used the sound as the soundscape, and I will keep you guys updated when the film comes out, and hopefully it will be showcasing in another exhibition too. But there's something I also wanted to tell Dodd. Dodd, are you listening, Dodd?
I am listening. Yes.
Your work transports me completely to another dimension, and I think that's what you wanted to achieve, and it's totally, yes. So it's amazing work. It's
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if you guys
appreciate that.
see the way that everything comes out. It does exactly feel like the tree is looking, outwards. It's incredible how you managed to come to this outcome of your work. I don't
Yeah,
know if you
thank you.
guys want to add anything else, because I spoke a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, continue.
No, and I was just going to say thank you. It took me, I mentioned in the residency, if you guys remember, I stopped exhibiting artwork for a few years. Well, I tried to figure out some way to be effective in painting. I think it's, referencing more towards Isabella, and I think even Denise too, that your struggles painting is, to me, it's not easy. It's really challenging to be fresh and interesting and do something new and different and kind of intoxicating. And again, I wish you guys could see the artwork in person, because it's created to have a. It's funny because I'm talking to you guys. I keep looking over the camera because in preparation for this, I have all three artworks sitting right in front of me. They've been turned away for a while I was waiting for today, so I'm kind of seeing them again for the first time in a few weeks. But yeah, it's an interesting way of working. You know, Isabella, your color references, I think you nailed it too with the clean color thing, which is one of the things that I talk about quite a bit when I in my work and when I talk to other artists, is being able to keep a really clean color palette and a fresh color palette, not allowing it to dirty or allowing the colors to really be intoxicating. Yeah, you know, it's just a natural process for me to, when coming into this residency and thinking about, you know, a bristlecone tree that's been standing like, you know, there for thousands of years, but rather challenging the viewer also in a stagnant image to not really think you're looking at the tree, but rather the tree is looking at you as witness, or you know, like I said, sentinel or guard or recorder of time, which, you know, is a heavy reference in my work as a linear time element. But thank you for that, Mary.
So can I stop sharing, or do you still want to talk a bit about any of the work that is in the
I
space?
just wanted to say
And
that.
start.
Just wanted to say to Andjelik, but everybody too. But I remember, even though I didn't see yours because of technical issues, Andjelik, I remember everything that you showed to us. I think yours was one of the ones that I mostly resonated with, the way, the delicate way that you portrayed, and the colors that you were, the way that you were editing the colors. I think they really, in the end, without thinking, I see some of the influences there in my work, and I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, I can't wait to see myself and like feel it properly. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very lovely. Yeah, you guys are amazing. I wish we could have this, you know, the same thing that we had in the residency. It was so nurturing for me and for all of you. It would be nice to stay in touch and continue this beautiful work. And also, Antonia, I would love to see what are you gonna come up with next, because your work is so interesting to me as well.
Yeah, I think we stay in touch. That's, I think that would be so interesting for all of us, and like to keep the exchange going on would be really nice.
The collabs going on, that would be great.
Yes,
See-
please. So just a bit for the audience. So the space will open soon, so you can go into the space and explore for yourself and see the artworks in more detail and the space in more detail. Be on social media and on the newsletter. You'll get a link to see the space. So if anyone has anything else to add, thank you guys for being here and talking so much about your work. Really lovely for me to see your work and see how the residency impacted you, and I hope you all continue to connect. I want to thank you for all your work. It's such a diverse work in terms of techniques, in terms of mediums used, but I think they all work together, and for me it's always so impressive to see how you come in with your own practice and you still come out with your own practices, but you merge so well and you connect so well with each other, and you can see that through the conversations and see how your work is impacted by all the things that you share, your techniques, you share about your work, you share about your concepts that you are working on. So I really want to thank you for being in the residency and presenting this work, and hopefully I can see all the work that you continue to do and see, Andjelik, how the video is going to play out. So thank you. Here.
We have a message. It says, thanks to everyone that collaborated to create this space. It was really cool to see all the artists' works. Thank you, Ivana.
Thank you. So
I just want to say thank you, Joanna, for everything. You are the one that put everything together, and I'm very grateful for the lectures, for everything. It was amazing.
Thank you, Isabella.
Really amazing. I talk to everybody about this art residency program. It really had a very big impact in me, and the information that you shared is priceless. And
Thank
I
you.
also started reading the book that you recommended. Guys, it's really good, guys. You have to read that book. The How to Be an Animal, How to Be Animal. Really good book. I recommend it. Yeah, it's I started reading it, and it's thank you.
Not at all, Andjelik. So thank you for everyone who came in and to be here with us. The recording will be soon on the website, so if you want to see it again, you can. So thank you.